Hello Facebook. Very cold day of weather in the coastal bend. Also to our streaming platform if you're watching there, or the YouTube or any of the digital spaces that we send this out to. As always, I like to talk about the time that we do these, because if you're not watching at this time, you're watching a recording, and we're talking about it being live right now. So it's 8:51. About to be 8:52, Monday, Martin Luther King Day, the 15th of January. Big cold snap here we're in the midst of, so we'll let people join up here, see the number still going higher, and I don't want anyone to miss any information. We will try to answer all the questions I know many people probably have, and just let you know what's ahead of us moving forward. Very cold nights of weather. So we're up to about 1,000 people watching live now. We will start it off here with what happened this morning. And this morning, if you're watching us last week, we were showing this graphic, and this was just my take on what was happening above us in the atmosphere. So last week, it looked like we were going to stay just above freezing this morning. That was on Friday of last week. And then over the weekend, data came in a little bit stronger and colder with Monday's temperatures. And it started becoming more apparent that we were in line for freezing rain. So we tried to put as much info out. I know, I spent Sunday updating on Facebook from home, talking about the freezing rain that looked pretty likely this morning, and it did happen. And the reason for that was because the surface up to about 1,500, 2,000 feet did drop to below freezing, and it was saturated. So all that rain was super cooled. It fell and it froze on contact to things like vehicles, objects outside, and some roads and bridges, which is why we saw the accidents during the early morning hours of this morning. We had some, icy spots on area bridges and overpasses in Corpus Christi. So that changed because the temperatures were below freezing this morning. What I was not expecting to see heading into this morning was this. This is a type of snow that isn't terribly common, and it was falling in parts of Corpus Christi. It was called snow needles, very granular looking type of ice. It's not the typical snowflake that you expect to see. We certainly didn't get any appreciable accumulation. It's very fine. It was not powdery. It was more icy than what you would expect to see when you're talking about snow. So the left image here that's on the screen, that was the weather balloon sounding from the Corpus Christi International Airport at 6 o'clock this morning. They do two a day, one at 6, one at 6 a.m. and p.m. Those balloons go up, they sample the atmosphere, and on this chart, the red line is the air temperature and the green line is the dew point. So I don't know if you can see it, it's real small. On the bottom of the graph, there's a series of numbers, -50, right? -20, -10, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Those are temperatures in Celsius. So that 0 line in the middle of the chart, it goes up diagonally, and that represents 0. So left of it is freezing, right of it is above freezing. So above us up to about, I'm going to say maybe 3,000 feet. We're talking about a layer of freezing air up there. That's where the freezing rain came from. Then it gets really warm up to about 1 kilometer, maybe 3,500 feet there, right? A kilometer up, it was 55, 60 degrees up there above the freezing rain that we were getting. Then it gets colder back up to around the snow growth region's up around 20,000 feet. I have a circle there, and it was dry. So, you know, in school, we look to the snow growth region to be able to define where snow will or will not be based on these soundings of the atmosphere. And to my eye, this looked like a freezing rain slam dunk. This just screams freezing rain, maybe sleet. I thought I heard some ice pellets at my place this morning, but maybe it was the snow needles, right? And I know we're going to get to all the questions. I'll even scroll through this with y'all and try to answer them all. I'm just trying to explain what happened with this morning's wintry mix. So started asking, because I was really trying to figure this out. I was asking colleagues, some professors I had in grad school. We were all talking about this. They were stumped as well. But the general consensus was that you need to be within -12 to -18 C for snow dendritic crystal type formation. And we were above that, but it's possible that we could have had a sliver of atmosphere that was in that region in that bottom 2,000 feet closer to the surface. So we had a super saturated atmosphere, and the little snow needle development that happened, you had water vapor going from gas state to this ice state, similar to the way frost forms on vehicles outside overnight, right? It goes from gas to solid. There's no liquid in between. It's a process called deposition. So that was happening without cloud formation above us, and we got this granular snow needle type of wintry precipitation. That's the best explanation that I can give as to why we saw that mixed in with the freezing rain. But freezing rain, we only had a few hundredths of an inch out there, and it was enough. You know, we had accidents. It caused problems. 1, 2, 3 hundredths of an inch, and that's all it took. So freezing rain is not a fun precipitation type. It's one of the harder ones to forecast for. And it's one of the harder ones to deal with, because you can also, let's say it did up to 1/10, 1/4 of an inch, then you start talking about ice aggregation on power lines, and you get problems there. You get problems with trees buckling and stuff because of the weight. So thankfully we didn't see a ton of it, but it was enough to create problems on the roads. Right now, this is a live look at the LexCam, and if you look at the bay, another meteorological phenomena happening. It is steam fog, sometimes referred to as sea smoke. And you've got water that's in the low 50s and cooling, and then air in the 20s riding over top of that. And the water that's evaporating into the atmosphere is at that warm state. It's cooling rapidly and condensing, and you're seeing that as the sea smoke or steam fog. 30 degrees out right now. Wind chill is 18, with the winds picking up north at 18 miles per hour. One little note, I'm going to just do a little explainer on the sea smoke or steam fog here. My clicker's not changed. There it goes. Sometimes these clickers are funky. It's really not fun when that happens on the air and it doesn't work. But the steam fog, this is basically what we just talked about, the colder air riding over the warmer body of water. And that fog that's getting produced is cooling. And so I was a little bit worried about that fog becoming freezing fog, meaning the water molecules in that cooled, foggy air existing at a super cooled level. So it's liquid but below freezing, and condensing and moving over land areas like Ocean Drive, and maybe getting a little more ice forming or sticking there. But I haven't seen any reports of Ocean Drive doing that. Anyway, that's the steam fog explained, and why and how all of that happens. Right now, the radar is looking clean. You look at the pink hues showing up, those are the area wind farms. So we probably have some ice on those turbines, and the radar is seeing that as pink. So There's some ice or glaze on those, but right now, again, no precip out there, which means that roads are not going to get worse tonight. I've been able to go to and from work. I've stayed on surface streets, but given the fact that we're not expecting precipitation tonight, it's going to get cold, but that doesn't freeze the roads. You need moisture on the road to freeze. There will be probably some slick spots here and there. Bridges going to be the most vulnerable, and that's just going to be from residual ice that developed this morning. Maybe a rural road that's not well traveled also may have some ice, but by and large, those problems should be isolated tonight, given the fact that we're not expecting new precipitation to fall. Everyone except for Kingsville and Flower Bluff right now reporting freezing values, and these are going to be going down overnight. You see the timestamp, 9:02. Winds are picking up. We've got some winds sustained now over 20 miles per hour in coastal locations. And the wind chill because of this is going to be really cold. It's going to be dangerously cold outside tonight. We're already seeing as low as 14 up in Beeville, wind chill of 24 in Flower Bluff. That's about the range of what we're seeing. So the winds are going to be stronger tonight. We've got high pressure moving in that's sending in some just reinforced north wind our way. It's going to keep things pretty chilly, but the winds are going to be sustained 15 to 25 overnight, and some gusts up around 35 miles per hour. So with that forecast on the wind speeds, we do have wind chill warnings that are up and posted until noon tomorrow. And this is for wind chill values, could be in the upper single digits or teens in a lot of the region. We're already seeing the teens. We're within 5 of the single digits in some places. We've got freeze warnings posted till noon tomorrow for the area, and it's going to be a hard freeze for pretty much everybody. The island may be on that light versus hard freeze threshold, 28 in Port Aransas, but you know, it certainly could get into the middle 20s there. So I would say hard freeze pretty likely across the board. Low 20s as you get away from the barrier islands and the immediate coast. It's 18, that's the low, the forecast low. In Beeville, you're in the teens club, also up in Refugio, 19 on that forecast low temperature. This won't be a record low, 16 back in 1888 in Corpus Christi is the record low for tomorrow. The wind chill values, it's going to be low, single digits or the lower 10s, lower teens, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's, the winds are going to be gusty, and when you're outside, they blow away the little cocoon of warmth that your body naturally has around itself. So it's going to feel very cold. People need to be inside. I know we focus on the P's all the time. I feel like people, when it's cold like this, we've got to be taking care of people inside. We'll get to the other 3 P's here in a sec, but it's going to be very cold tonight with that wind picking up around the Corpus Christi Bay area. So this will be kind of interesting to see how it plays out. We're all going to freeze, but south of the Corpus Christi Bay, because of the wind coming in from the north and the bay being in the lower 50s, those locations may stay in the middle to upper 20s. While the areas north of the bay, without that warmer influence, if you will, maybe a few degrees lower than that. So that'll be a little localized nuance in the forecast. Low 20s as you get away from the bay and farther west out toward Cal Allen, 22 at the airport, 25 downtown, and in the Bay Area, 24 on the south side. A hard freeze coming this way overnight and tomorrow morning. It'll be colder than it was this morning with the freezing rain in place. So we're looking at a 24 plus hour freeze. That will be the case until we snap out of it tomorrow afternoon, getting into the upper 30s, but then another 10 to 14 hour freeze headed this way and another hard freeze on Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. So we've got a couple of very cold nights ahead. We'll get into the pipes now. And this is going to be the most prone locations to having issues are going to be pier and beam structures as compared to a foundation or slab structure. The piping is just more exposed. So the exterior stuff, your water hose, your water shutoff, there's usually a valve next to your house on that. There's one on mine. Any pipe that is exposed to the elements needs to be covered. That's got to be covered. You're not dripping those exterior pipes. You want to cover those pipes. The ones in the house, and again, the water department, had a meeting with them a few times, and one of the big things that they were making sure that we knew, and I didn't know this, was that you only need to drip one faucet, and that faucet should be the farthest away from your water source, so you get flow through all of your home, and that one faucet slowly dripping is the one that helps keep the water moving throughout your home. So that's something I learned. Hopefully that works for you. And the reason for that, the one faucet slow drip, is because if everyone opens up their faucet to like a slow trickle, for example, the water pressure gets extremely low in the city, and you could start to run into problems where the water's not safe for consumption, so water boil type stuff. And that's really the crux of why the slow drip one faucet thing is a messaging, it's something they're trying to shoot for just knowledge and education. Again, I didn't know that. You want to open up your cabinets. If you're worried about it, it just provides a little extra warmth to get air running and pushing up against the pipes. It's like just an extra buffer there. If you do have a problem, you want to know where the water shutoff is. You want to be able to turn the water off in the event that you do have something crack or break. If you have a pool, make sure that's all ready to go. Some of it's winterized, some aren't. Just kind of your knowledge at home about the pool stuff to check that. And also, if you have a sprinkler system, you want to make sure that is drained also. So that's the pipes. The plants now, you could have watered them yesterday. I don't think now is the time to be watering to help insulate, but they should be indoors by this point already. It's kind of, self-explanatory. If you don't want them to freeze, bring them indoors. If you have them outside, you can't bring them indoors. You want to cover them and make sure that cover extends to the ground. You don't want air getting in there, and it's just kind of hope at that point. If it is what it is. You got to cover them to protect them. Some people have said you can use the Christmas lights. If you haven't taken those down yet, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. But those provide a little bit of extra warmth. And if something does get damaged, you're just going to have to kind of leave it there until we start to warm up, heading into the late winter and spring. Pets inside. Unless you have a sheltered environment with a source of heat outside, they've got to be inside. It's cruel to leave them outside without protection. So pets, if you're cold, they're cold. Same way we talk in the summer where if it's hot for your feet, it's hot for their paws. They feel it too. So, they've got to be inside. I've got 2 dogs, both rescue dogs at my house, and they've been definitely in the bed, and 2 dog nights right now. It's like a thing that's how they used to define how cold it was, how many dogs were in the bed to help keep you warm. But they've got to be inside. It's a shame if they're outside in cold like this. So I've been getting a lot of questions about the roads now, and for good reason. There were all those accidents this morning. And it's going to be freezing tonight. So what I'm saying is that there's no new precipitation that we're expecting overnight. And with that, we're not going to see an expansion of problems. So whatever was there today, that'll be the worst case scenario tonight/tomorrow morning. The higher trafficked areas tend to get rid of any slick spots quicker. The rural locations, maybe less traveled, the road less traveled, those are going to be slower to get rid of any icing that happened this morning. But these should be fairly isolated areas and mostly confined to overpasses and bridges or rural, very poorly traveled roads that don't have a lot of traffic on them. By tomorrow afternoon, with temperatures up around the upper 30s, I think we should be done with any of whatever ice was there from this morning, but just caution on the road. Isolated slick spots overnight into tomorrow morning. So this is the current satellite imagery. Oh, by the way, I'm going to just do this real quick. If you like this content, this long format, just discussion, we're talking about it together type stuff, I'm going to paste a link to our YouTube, I hope. Oh man, I can't do it. I didn't get the link, and I'm not going to go and find it and then paste it. But if you search KIII, 3 News on YouTube, you'll see it. It's the first one that pops up. And it's not only this stuff, but all of our stories, that we run, the weather hits, the just like kind of it's kind of like a on-demand service. You can watch whatever videos that we have up there, at any time, and you can just pull it up on the TV. So if you like this, it's a good place to find stuff like this and similar to this. Back to the weather now. The cold front well to the south at this point. It's through all of Texas. The freezing stuff is moving away. You see it now moving into the deep southeastern part of the country. There's winter weather advisories there. The front's also going to move in that direction. So cold is moving to the east and southeast. And it's really cold throughout a lot of the state. It's 25 in San Antonio. Look at the panhandle. Just looking at that, I need to get out my hot chocolate. 4 in Amarillo. That's cold, 4 degrees. Okay, that's good. And it's gonna get cold if I don't drink it in the next few minutes. But, everyone except for El Paso, Marfa, Del Rio is still at 36, and then the valley, Laredo to Brownsville, all freezing, and they're going to drop to below freezing as well, those South Texas locations. Want to walk us through now the next 48 hours on our high-resolution local futurecast modeling. This is our in-house model, and tonight we're going to start to clear up a little bit, so that'll help with the cooling, along with those gustier north winds. Tomorrow, waking up to the low 20s, mid-20s in Flower Bluff, mid to upper 20s on the island, some teens in the northern counties of the viewing area. This is when the wind chill values will be in the single digits or, teens or lower than that. It's going to be cold, very cold, but we're not expecting precipitation, so it's just cold. Layer up if you're going to be outside. I like to tell people to put 1 extra layer on than what you think you're going to need, especially in cold conditions like this and given the winds being so strong. It's going to stay breezy tomorrow, 10 to 20, some gusts occasionally higher than that. Temperatures, we do get above freezing, but not by a whole lot. It's going to be cold. We'll catch more sun tomorrow, probably some wispy cirrus clouds up there. But upper 30s, low 40s for the most part. On Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, another hard freeze, 10 to 14 hours worth of freezing temperatures. It looks to say fairly clear, and the winds will be lighter. So right now, I've got mid to low 20s for many. The islands, mid to low 30s. When tomorrow's data starts to come in for Wednesday morning, so Tuesday, data looking at Wednesday, if it comes in a little bit colder, that would not surprise me given the wind speeds lightening up. We get some radiational cooling going on, and that can amplify how fast and efficient temperatures cool. So right now, hard freeze certainly on the table, but it could be another teens and low 20s type of night. Just depends on how the modeling comes in, but that'll be something watching closely on Wednesday morning. Then Wednesday night, or Wednesday day, it clouds back up a little bit. Temperatures get milder, and this is the beginning of this little thawing period that we're going to have starting Wednesday afternoons. We'll zoom out and pick it up Wednesday afternoon, because we're going to be looking to the north for another cold front with Arctic origins moving this way. That air mass will be up in the northern plains at this point. And high pressure will be to the east. Just like it does when it gets really warm and humid after a front, that high to our east will send in milder air. So again, low 50s, not as cold Wednesday afternoon, probably going to stay in the 40s into Thursday morning, and then afternoon I think we'll be in the upper 60s or low 70s on Thursday. So it definitely gets milder. Thursday, I mean, we're talking near borderline sunny delight territory on Thursday, maybe a little bit breezy, but Thursday looks pretty nice around here. Then Friday morning, our front comes in. This one will not be as strong as the one we're in right now, the one that came in Sunday and then got cold Sunday night into today. This one still, though, going to pack a punch. We're going to be in the 50s, if not 40s, on Friday morning behind this. And then I think we stay under 60 all day Friday with breezy north winds. And it does bring another chance for a freeze into the forecast Saturday morning. So I think, you know, this model's showing 36. I think I have the European for the temperature right there. But it's going to be close to another freeze. I don't think it's going to be as strong and as cold and, you know, drastic as what we're seeing right now. But by that point, we should be well equipped to handle a light freeze if that is what is to come this weekend. Tonight, cold, 22, wind chill values in the teens, maybe single digits. It will be very cold tonight. Gusts up to 35 on those north winds, some clearing of the skies too overnight. So be prepared for a lot of cold weather into Tuesday. 28, the wind chill in the afternoon. So wind chill might stay below freezing all day tomorrow. 38 for the high, some sun, some wispy, higher altitude clouds, still going to be cold. And that wind north 10 to 20, gusting up to around 30 miles per hour. After Wednesday morning, another hard freeze. Things start to thaw out. We'll be in the low 50s on Wednesday afternoon, a lot less windy, and then the wind starts to shift out of the southeast Wednesday. Southwest wind Thursday. Thursday's going to be a sunny delight. Looking at the wind speed there, I thought it might be a little breezier. I couldn't remember what I put on there for Thursday, but it's going to be nice. Friday morning, brief dip into the 40s behind this front. Looks like a dry passage, staying under 60 behind it with gustier north winds. Saturday looks chilly. That's when we'll see that light freeze possibility. Right now I have us at 34, mostly cloudy, highs up around 50. And then Sunday, Monday, some rain starts to move in, and this will be rain, not freezing rain or wintry type precipitation. Temperatures won't be nearly as cold when that rain chance starts to come in. So that's how it looks over the next 7 days. I'll leave this 7-day up and just try to answer some questions. Rose asking, is the bridge safe tomorrow? My answer to that is the conditions that we're seeing right now on the bridges, they won't change overnight unless they're getting treated, and they're not going to get worse. So if you've traveled over, you know, you're probably going to be fine tomorrow morning. No new precipitation means we're not going to see the problems get worse. They can only get better moving forward. So again, I don't think we're going to see widespread road issues. You have to have moisture on the road. Just because it's cold doesn't mean that the pavement will freeze. You have to have moisture on the pavement. So I'm trying to get these questions answered. Okay, a lot of road questions. I'll try to scroll back here. Usually I could just go to the weather computer and pick the graphic I want, but let me scroll back to the roads. Here's the roads graphic. We're getting a lot of questions about that. Isolated slick spots is what we're saying. You know, it's impossible to know every single condition, but you know, I've been coming to and from work twice today. We've had people come in from Portland, people come in from the island. They've all made it without issue, but they did say that there were some slick spots. So that's what we're looking at tonight. Just let's see other questions. I want to just be as thorough as possible. It's 9:21 on Monday night, January the 15th. So if you're watching and trying to ask a question and it's not that time, I can't see your question. Question from B, when is it safe to stop the faucets from dripping? When the temperatures get back to above freezing. That's the answer to that question. So probably around noontime tomorrow, then you'll have to drip again. I usually just say after sunset, start dripping them again until about noon the following day. That's roughly the time frame to be dripping, slow dripping, one faucet farthest away from your water source. Just going to scroll through some of these graphics again. I see a comment from Frank saying that the fog is getting thicker. I'm just going to pull up the tower cam and see if I can see anything like that. I did see it coming up a little bit more. Okay, I can't really see a whole lot. I can see some of the refinery steam off in the distance, but yeah. We'll keep our eyes on that. We're not expecting, you see a car driving over the bridge right now. Well, the camera's freezing up, no pun intended. So, I mean, cars are traveling over. It's definitely not as busy as you typically would see. Yesenia, I'm not going to be as versed on roads outside of this area. DriveTexas.org. If you're looking for statewide conditions, I just don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Rudy, is CCISD on a 2-hour delay?
I think they're closed tomorrow.
2-hour delay.
2-hour delay? Yeah, so yeah, the Rudy Leslie telling me that there's a 2-hour delay for CCISD. So 9:23, I think we answered pretty much all the questions. I'm seeing the viewer count start to drop, so we will leave it there. We're going to be on tonight after the game, playoff wild card edition of Monday Night Football. We've got the Buccaneers and the Eagles on. Tried to jump on this during halftime. Might have gone into the third quarter a little bit, but we will be on, and the news will go on after the football game. And then, you know, first edition, 5 to 7 with Carly, John Thomas, Barbie. And then we'll be back here at 5, 6, and 10 with all the latest updates. Don't forget the YouTube channel. Also, we put so much thought into our discussions on our website, KIIITV.com/weather. You click on you'll see like usually an image of one of us doing the weather. And if you click on that headline, that takes you to a really in-depth breakdown of exactly what we're thinking. You get all of the thoughts right there, plus a forecast video, graphics to supplement the text. It's a great resource. I'm not sure if people even know it's there, but we put a lot of effort into that part of the website each and every day. So if you have the time, look for that. And thank you all for watching. We will see y'all. Hopefully it's not too late, but I always like a good game, and if it goes into overtime, then whatever. As long as it's close and entertaining, I don't mind staying a little bit late. But we will see y'all after the game, and if not, we'll see you some other time, I hope. Hope y'all have safe nights and stay warm.